Alright, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back here to the channel and another video. So before we tap in to today's topic, I just really wanted to point out, since it is Texas 2K week, in regards to that, for anybody that is watching that is looking to get some added power to their car, specifically nitrous through Nitrous Express, I do have a partnership with Nitrous Express. I'm happy to announce that. I mentioned it before in previous videos, but for anybody that hasn't seen those, I do have an active partnership with Nitrous Express. So if anybody that is watching looking to get a full nitrous kit, any added accessories, bottles, whatever, at checkout through the Nitrous Express site, if you go ahead and use the promo code Trigger Society, you can save yourself some cash at checkout. So that's use promo code Trigger Society at checkout. Okay, so for today's topic, I wanted to touch on, this is something I've been asked about a lot and I've had experience using both, and that is the pros and cons and the differences between a dyno tune and a street tune, or an email tune, which term you prefer to use. There's pros and cons to each. Now, I'm not a tuner, just full disclosure, so I don't know the technicalities behind tuning one versus the other, or how to tune. Hopefully I can eventually learn, but I'm not a tuner, so I'm just wanted to make a video based upon my experience when it comes to dyno tuning versus email tune, street tuning, whichever you prefer to call it, and the pros and cons of each of those. Okay, so when it comes to dyno tuning, number one, hopefully you could find a dyno that is close to you. Now, a lot of people, you might not be close to a dyno or within range to take a car to a dyno, but if you take a car to a dyno to have it tuned, it is a lot safer. You have your car strapped to a dyno, you don't have to worry about as much in regards to anything catastrophic happening to you, the car crashing into someone else, something happening. So when it comes to the pros of using a dyno, when it comes to safety, it is a lot safer using a dyno opposed to street tuning your car. So yeah, so I've done both. Now, when it comes to tuning on the street, there's a lot more things that you need to keep an eye out for. There's the high chance that, well, it's illegal, number one. It's frowned upon. Obviously, I'm not condoning any of that at all. There's the chance that you could crash the car, you could hit another car. If you're out in an area, you could blow something on the car and you're stranded. A lot of factors could happen that could be avoided if you were doing the tuning on a dyno. So when it comes to some of the pros of street tuning, with my experience, now I know people might have separate experiences, but with my experience, I believe from what I just experienced now through my revised tune through Palm Beach, street tuning can be more accurate with the overall across-the-board drivabilities of the car, daily driver purposes, stop and go traffic, idling. You can do a lot of those driving data logs, the idle logs, send those off to your tuner. They can revise those, and then your full throttle watt pulls in Mexico, clearly, obviously. From my experience, the overall drivability can be more dialed in with the overall driving aspect of the car. Street tuning is more cost effective. Now, if you schedule a time and a date to put your car on a dyno, a lot of dynos, the first initial time you take a car on a dyno to have it tuned, you need to dial anything in. If it's your first time on a dyno, if anyone's not aware, your first time costs significantly more than the second, third, fourth time after that. A lot of places, after your first initial time on a dyno, will charge you their per hour rate. The first time to take your car on a dyno, It could cost you anywhere. With my experience, I took my previous car I had, the GT500, had that tune on a dyno, and the tune was fantastic. But when it comes to comparing the cost, I think I paid right around $700 or $800 for my first initial tune on the dyno. That can get pretty pricey for some people. So $700, $800 to have the car tuned on a dyno, opposed to paying for your first initial tune, your tuning device, whatever that is, and then you just do as many data logs back and forth on the streets as you can at your time that you can, opposed to taking the car, like I said, to a dyno and spending upwards of close to $1,000 for a tune. You know, aside from the cost, not everyone's going to have a shop that has a dyno relatively close to them. I drove about an hour to go to HPP, which it's not that bad, but there might be some people that there's not a dyno anywhere close to them to strap the car on a dyno. So you got to factor in, okay, is there a dyno close to me? What do they charge for the first initial tune on the dyno? So if you're not going to have one close to you, which a lot of you that are watching this might not have anything close to you, so that's when street tuning or email tunes for you are the better way to go. Another thing too, dyno tuning is legal. You're not breaking any laws. You're not putting yourself at risk, I guess you could say. You're not putting others around you at risk. So there is that aspect. You pay more to not potentially break any laws, crash the car, crash into anybody else. So to me, I've experienced both. Do I prefer one over the other? I think, in my opinion, the pros outweigh the cons when it comes to street tuning and to just dialing in the whole aspect of the car from top to bottom. Now, when it comes to the specifics of this, I recommend asking your tuner about this because I'm not knowledgeable, but I know when it comes to dyno tuning, there's different test functions and loads that you could get on the dyno compared to a street tune that you just can't get on, you know, specific data logs and back and forth email tunes like you could on a dyno. So there's that aspect also as well. Now, the day I did my initial tuning, I had a specific set time. I couldn't change that time because they were booked and swamped, but it was about 85 degrees and humid as hell, so I couldn't back out of that. I had to set my specific time. So, you know, you tune on the street, you could do that anytime at your convenience. If it's too hot, you could put it off and do it at like another time. You schedule time at the dyno, you're pretty much strapped in for the time that you have, and you can't adjust that no matter how hot or cold it is outside. So in regards to the street tuning, I've been talking with my tuner, Bobby. Bobby, if you're watching this, I'm talking to you, over at Palm Beach. Now, a pro to tuning, street tuning, and emailing tunes back and forth, there are specific shifting and drivability aspects that you could fine-tune dialing in with the street tunes that you just can't quite get with a dyno tune compared to a street tune. So all those things you got to keep in mind. Do you want to dial in, if it's a daily driver car, to dial in all the different shift points throughout the whole aspect of the car? You just can't always get those on a dyno. As far as I know, like I said, I'm not an expert on tuning, but everything that I've know in regards to it. But if I'm wrong, please go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know. But I just know there is more tuning characteristics in regards to the shifting and driving points that you can get on an email tune that you just can't get on a dyno. So the dyno is best for a powered number. If you're trying to chase a number like 700 on 93 or 800 or 900 or 1000 on E85, on the dyno, you are able to get a number printed out on a piece of paper. You have the sheet and everything like that. So it's better to dial in a horsepower number and know exactly what the car is putting down, opposed to an email tune. You just have a butt dyno and you don't know what the car is exactly putting down unless you put the car on a dyno and you can see exactly what the car has. The dyno is also good to show improvements over the time. So if you had a specific number and then you went back to get a revision, you added something, or you went from 93 to 85, or you had stock headers, you added headers and you put it back on the dyno to revise that tune, you could see the power that increase that you had from the first tune on the dyno to the second one, so on and so forth. So it's good to see the progression of the power, you know, as you've added stuff through time. So like I said, you got pros and cons of each. There are certain aspects that you can get on a dyno that you can't get on the street, and vice versa. So it just depends if there's a dyno close to you. If you're able to swing it, if you want to pay the upfront costs and you want to see what the car is putting down, definitely the option for a dyno is for you. All right, so I thought I should just put that together. Pros and cons of each street tune, email tune, or a dyno tune, and what to expect for one or the other. So like I said, I've done both a dyno tune, street tuning. There's just pros and cons of each. If you want to get your horsepower, you want to see what the car is putting down and the progression, dyno tune is definitely the way that you should consider. You could also street tune at the track, do like a dyno tune if there's a track close to you. Street tuning on the street, like I said, it's not legal and it's frowned upon. So those are all things that you should keep in mind. But on that note, I'm going to close this out. If you guys are watching and you're not subscribed, please do me a favor, hit subscribe, and please drop a comment. I like to chat with you guys back and forth. But on that note, you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya. Bye.